Welcome along to the Whiskey Stories Barbecue What 3 Drams Special Edition. We've picked a cracking day for it, Angus.
We couldn't have picked a better day.
We're sitting here drying off slightly. It's the Scottish barbecue weather. We've had a glorious week of sunshine, and then the day, the weekend that we decide to try and have a barbecue, it's just lashing it down with rain. So
what I'd say as well is if you're having a barbecue and there's not a wee bit of adversity, then you may as well not bother.
There's the way to go. We've got sausages on the go here, as you can see. So I've been busy getting the sausages all looking ready for us, Angus. But the big question is, and one of the things that a lot of people we've been talking about,
it's been a big discussion in the group.
Yeah, I put it out to the Facebook group, is what are the drams that go perfectly or go well with a barbecue?
We had some fantastic suggestions.
Lots and lots of different suggestions and lots of people getting involved in the conversation, so we decided to let's put it to the test. We've got ourselves a nice fancy portable barbecue. We've got ourselves
top of the range.
Exactly. No expense spared here at the Whiskey Stories podcast, but we decided to go for, we picked our favourite 3 drams that we would go with for a barbecue. So this is the Whiskey Stories What 3 Drams Barbecue Edition. A lot of discussion about what goes best with a barbecue, what flavour profiles you're looking for. So the first one off the bat, let's get started. We've gone for the Glenallachie 12 Sauternes wine cask finish. It's a limited edition.
Limited to the UK.
Limited to the UK there as well. An absolute cracker of a dram. We've had it at a tasting.
Yeah, we went to a Glenallachie tasting and we tried this, and you know, I'm a big fan of Sauternes cask finishes. I love that sweetness that you get from it, that kind of dessert wine sweetness, and I think just some, if you think of kind of barbecue sauce, it's that sweet, sticky flavour you want, and you just get a wee bit of that with this dram. Wee bit of sweetness just goes very, very nicely with a barbecue, with that smoky. 48%
ABV, so it's got a bit of punchiness to it.
Yeah,
it probably
absolutely.
Does go well with a bit of water if you wanted to, or even probably if you wanted to put it with a mixer like a highball or something like that.
Luckily, with the heavens above us, we might, and a wee bit of water already in the glass.
But there's no smoke in this.
No.
There's absolutely no smoke in this.
This is unpeated spirit.
So this is unpeated whiskey here, Sauternes, so I don't know what the length of time it has been finished in a Sauternes cask. It probably started its life in
disclosed,
in a bourbon cask, but light colour, easy going. Well, cheers.
Slange. Oh, that's very nice. That has got me very excited about these sausages.
Yes, well that's the thing. I think for me, only just recently getting into the peated whiskey, my discovery of smoke in whiskey is fantastic, and it's whether or not, the question is do you follow smoke with smoke? Right, we're cooking with charcoal, you can clearly see the smoke here on the barbecue. So is it about adding more smoke to the flavour? Yeah. But then I'm looking at it going, these sausages, this meat is heavy going, there's going to be a bit of saltiness to it. Yeah. So why not sort of back that up with a little bit of sweetness?
Absolutely, and we had a very interesting discussion on the podcast quite a while ago now with Hector McLean.
Yeah.
Specifically around cigars. I'm not a cigar smoker myself particularly, but he was saying, no. When you're talking about pairing cigars with drams, with whiskey, you generally want to go something without peated malt. I think for a barbecue it's slightly different. Answers on a postcard, please, if you disagree. I think with a barbecue, you want to layer that smoke with a bit of smoke sometimes, and you want to, you want to just go all out there, with the flavour. Flavour
profile on this, you're getting tropical fruits, heather, honey, and baking spices, followed by demerara sugar, coconut, and marmalade, with citrus notes, caramel, and ice cream to finish. So for me, I'm saying that's a dram for a barbecue. It's got everything you want on a nice sunny day when it just starts to rain again. That's exactly what you're after.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I think this is very nice for a barbecue, but I think there are other options. And I think there are. I personally would go with something a wee bit more peated.
The next dram that we've got, you've just mentioned in there, Angus, the fact that there is an element of peatedness, that smokiness that you want to have accompanying these barbecues.
Absolutely.
Especially looking at the state of some of these sausages right now.
Very
smoky, very peated.
They're developing a healthy colour, I would say.
So the next dram here, we've got the Ardnamurchan AD. Ardnamurchan is an absolute cracking distillery.
A real favourite of yours, Graham.
I'm falling in love massively with the Ardnamurchan distillery. This is unaged, so it's an unaged statement. But the distillery, I don't think the distillery has. Maybe it does have an age statement.
It has done a few bottlings with ages on. I mean, I know there's Adelphi, obviously independent own Ardnamurchan have done their own bottling, but I think they have had. I'd have to check, but I think they have had ones with age.
But this is the reason I picked this one is it's 50-50. 50% peated malt, 50% unpeated malt. So what you're starting to get now is we do have that smoky element in it. A mix of ex-bourbon, ex-sherry casks, so you're still going to get that sweetness coming through from the bourbon and the fruitiness coming through from the sherry. So
flange.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on the nose. I mean, it's not because I've got a barbecue right in front of me. Getting that wee bit of smoke, wee bit of peat, certainly in the mouth. Yeah, really, really nice. Very well-rounded sort of dram as well.
46.8% ABV as well. So you're still getting that flavour coming through, a bit of punch to it. It's not going to be light and easy going.
A nice percentage there.
But again, like I'm trying this, and I'm mad for highballs at the moment in the summer. So.
And you think this would go well in a highball?
I think there's just.
You think this in a highball in a barbecue?
Sweetness. It's a nice scorching summer's day.
Like today.
Bit of ice. Stick a bit of that in, and maybe some soda water or
some tonic water.
Maybe some tonic water in there. Real sweet. I like that. And again, it carries on the sweetness, but there's still. I mean, Ardnamurchan's a coastal, a Highland coastal whiskey.
I think as well, going with food as well, a wee bit of saltiness in the dram just pairs off very, very nicely with, especially with meat.
I really like that. I'm struggling. Yeah. I would have. After having that one, I would have said definitely.
So you thought, and when we were starting this, that would be your number one.
That was going to be that.
You knew that
was going to be this.
Yeah.
But now I'm tasting that, thinking that's. I think the peat as well will obviously determine. It's not going to be Isla coastal peat.
No.
So when everyone looks at, like me, for example, when I first started out drinking whiskey, I'm looking at the peat and I'm thinking, it's just that TCP medicinally taste. But
it doesn't
wherever they're getting that peat source from. I don't know where Ardnamurchan get their peat source from, but it won't be the same as the Isla peat.
No.
So it'll have a completely different smoky feel to it.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's really nice.
Exactly. And I think because it's only 50-50 peated malt as well, you don't have that kind of same. I don't know if intensity is the right word, but sometimes, these peated, you can get overcome by that kind of peated fire taste, and you can't taste anything else beyond that sometimes. I know some people really struggle with that. Whereas this, I think, there's just enough in there to let you know it's there's peated malt, but it doesn't overpower the other flavours in the dram.
Absolutely, and what you're looking at the tasting notes for this is orchard fruit. No, you're getting this on the nose. Orchard fruit, wet pebbles on the beach, oyster shells, and eucalyptus. So kind of summery feeling there. Then you're looking at on the palate, tobacco leaves, peppercorn, brine, hay bales, and marzipan. And then finishing, you're getting that coastal sea spray, bonfire on the beach lingering.
And this is what I was saying again with the salt. I can really taste that maritime aspect of that dram in this glass, and I think that just pairs so well with grilled meat. I think this is a barbecue classic.
I mean, I'm looking at these sausages right now, Angus.
Yes.
What are we thinking about the sausages? don't just rate the drams. Rate the sausages. I think we're going to need something pretty. I mean, God Almighty, I think that one's there. I think these sausages are pretty much done.
I think they possibly could
on the outside, Angus. Right, get me a roll.
Yep.
Get me a roll made up. Sausages are on the roll, Ang. You've had a bite out of yours.
I have.
Flavour. What are you giving me? Give me your tasting notes of these drams.
These sausages. I'm getting coal soot. These have been well. Graham and I, we've got our food hygiene certificates from when we were younger men, and these are. I would task any bacteria with trying to stay alive on one of those sausages.
Yes.
They've developed a healthy colour.
Mouthfeel crunchy on the outside, very, very hot on the inside, and thankfully cooked as well, which makes a big difference. Now we've got some barbecue sauce on these as well.
We have,
which
nice,
is quite helpful because
sweet and sticky.
Gets the dryness away from the sausages.
They absolutely need the barbecue sauce, I would say. But a nice soft roll as well, which is key.
Now, but the first two drams, without having a bite from the barbecue.
Yep.
Now that we've had that bite deep from the barbecue, it's time for our third dram. So the third dram that we picked for this is we're going through the scales. And the third dram we picked is a dram that we're quite familiar with from the podcast.
It's a dram that actually was one of my what three drams. When we first did the podcast, I was really at the beginning of my whiskey journey, if we're being honest. But a dram that had already changed my perception of something was Ardbeg An Oa. If you remember rightly, Ardbeg was a distillery that I said, well, I don't like Ardbeg because I'd had a bad experience with Ardbeg when I was a younger man. And then when I came back, I bought a bottle of An Oa from the distillery, and when I came back and opened it up, it was an absolute revelation. Because it was peated, it was sherried, it was everything I love in a dram, and still for me, it's up there in one of my favourite drams.
Well, this is it for the debate. There's absolutely no hiding behind this dram now, because when we talked about picking three drams for a barbecue, we talked about whether or not should it be smoky, should it not be smoky, the sweetness, etc., and stuff like that. You're looking at Ardbeg, you're not getting anything other than smoky out of that.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think what Ardbeg, one of the highest ppms you can get in a dram.
But I think specifically, I know it's because it's got that PX sherry, along with the bourbon. It's just got that sweetness and that kind of those fruity flavors as well. Those dry, what you'd expect from a sherried whiskey. But in amongst that classic Ardbeg peat smoke and funk. What
we're seeing here is the taste, smooth, creamy textured, huge syrupy sweetness. So we're still getting the sweetness.
And that's why this is so great, such a great barbecue dram, because it is peated, but it is syrupy, it is sweet. It's as close to the dram as you get to barbecue sauce. And I just think, for me, this is an absolute cracker for a barbecue.
Under 50 quid again for that one.
Absolutely.
So you're looking at roughly, between the three drams, you're looking at your Glenallachie coming in at the most expensive. Mainly because, to be perfectly honest with you, it's a limited edition special release. Sauternes cask. So that's going to be, you're looking at 60 odd quid for that one. You're looking at under 50 quid for both of these two here with the Ardnamurchan.
So these are very accessible whiskies. I mean, if you're in the UK for the Glenallachie one, but these are very accessible whiskies to get your hands on. And if you're having a barbecue, you don't know what dram to pair with your food. You don't know what dram to go for. I don't think you can really go wrong with any three of these.
Absolutely, but if you were to pick one to dram after eating the heavily charred sausages that we've just enjoyed, with a nice fluffy roll, with some lovely barbecue, sweet and sticky barbecue sauce on those sausages, which of those three drams are you picking?
Well, I came on here and I absolutely thought I'm going to go for the Ardbeg An Oa. I'm still going to go for the Ardbeg An Oa.
Right.
But I tell you what, with the Ardnamurchan, you very, very nearly changed my mind. But I have to admit, the An Oa for me is 100% what I'd be going for here.
An Oa gets the Angus vote.
So, Graham, yourself, what's your final thoughts on these three drams?
I was really torn because, as I say, I think I was almost convinced before we even started that it was going to be the Glenallachie. Because of the flavour that you were getting out of that.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is, I'm still not convinced, after having the Ardbeg, I personally am not convinced that you need that much smoke on the back of a barbecue.
Right.
Particularly with the barbecue sauce, you're getting that sweetness and stuff like that coming out of that on the sausages that have heavily charred. We've been getting blasted in the face by the smoke whilst we've been recording it. So I'm not going for the Ardbeg. So it's going to have to be the Ardnamurchan AD for me, I think. And you know what? I'll put it this way. I'm going to put the Ardnamurchan AD as my dram on the basis of affordability and accessibility. I think this is an absolute cracker, and I would say that Glenallachie 12 in the Sauternes is a belter of a dram.
It is.
And you know, when you go to Glenallachie right now, you're often expecting to see really dark bottles.
Yeah, big sherry bombs.
Big sherries. Now Sauternes is a sherry, or you know, it's a sweet wine. So it's a completely different route that they've gone down, but still carrying on that sort of we're sherried, you know, by sherry
finishing
cask
things in wine casks.
Yeah. So really like that. But over £60, limited edition. You know, next summer will we be able to get our hands on that bottle? Whereas next summer, once we're sitting in glorious blue skies right now,
absolutely
drying off nicely.
Oh, the sun has come out for us, Graham.
So I think I'm going to pour myself another one of the Ardnamurchans. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this.
Absolutely.
And then I think what we're going to have to do is split a sausage each.
I think so. That's the only thing we can do.
Well, listen, Angus.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.